I just casually browse the books section, because of course you've got to casually browse the books section of every store you ever go to that has a books section. Hello, I am Jessie, the Sleepy Koala, and welcome. Today I will be doing that monumental task that I have put off for who knows how long now, and I will finally be going through my physical TBR. My physical TBR is not as long as some people's. That's definitely for sure. I still think it's way too long for me. I very much would like to cut it down. And in the past year, I have definitely bought a lot of books. And it's definitely been in the vein of buying them in bulk, going to Barnes & Noble, because I now live in a different country. I live far away from bookstores. I don't have the opportunities that I used to when I was living in Australia to be able to go and get just one book from a bookstore because it was close by, because I could easily get there in 20 minutes. That's not the case anymore. So now, every time I've gone to Barnes & Noble, I've walked out with a stack like this big, just because of like, when will I be back here again? I've got to stock up. I've got to get a lot of things so that I've got so much reading in between. And of course I've got to do almost none of it in between my Barnes & Noble trips. And of course this is being augmented by smaller book purchases along the way from places like Target or Goodwill, where I'll just go in and I just casually browse the books section, because of course you've got to casually browse the books section of every store you ever go to that has a books section. And inevitably there is something there that catches your eye and you're like, should I buy it? Should I not buy it? And you resist, or you just buy it. And sometimes I just buy it. But there are things that I've put off buying quite a few times and then finally bought after like 3 or 4 times of seeing it, because then I know that I definitely do want it. If it's a book that's not quite in my comfort zone or not something I would normally read. There's some fairy tales that I bought last year that it took a couple of times of seeing them before I actually took the plunge and actually bought the fairy tales. So I've definitely had like bits and pieces being augmented there. I've also bought some things online. I don't like online book shopping, but sometimes it's all that I can do, particularly now because I am very picky about editions of things, and there are quite a few things that the American publishing industry does that I don't like. So I am determined to buy the international or UK editions of things instead. And sometimes I just like their covers better, so I've got to buy them online and I don't have any other choice. So I've had books coming in through that avenue as well. But that's just all to say that I've bought a lot of books in the last 8 months and I haven't read nearly enough of them. So today I'm going to go through all of the books that are on my physical TBR. These are things that I have bought. These are things that I brought with me overseas. These might also be things that my husband already had on the shelf. So it is rather large for me and I do want to cut it down, and that is my goal this year, is to really get in and start reading some of those books that I've bought, because otherwise what was the point of buying them? But without further ado, let's get into the video, shall we? So the first book that I'm going to start with is 1984 by George Orwell, I Don't Want to Kill You by Dan Wells, I Am Not a Serial Killer by Dan Wells, The Book Thief by Markus Zusak, The Wheel of Time series by Robert Jordan, Dune by Frank Herbert, Foundation by Isaac Asimov, A Tale of Magic by Christopher Colfer, A Game of Thrones by George R.R. Martin. I have actually read the first book and half of the second one, but I haven't finished the series. The Shadow and Bone trilogy by Leigh Bardugo, Green by J. Lake, the Malazan series by Stephen Erikson, An Abundance of Katherines by John Green, A Beautifully Foolish Endeavour by Hank Green, Rivers of London by Ben Aaronovitch, The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang, The Red Queen Quartet by Victoria Aveyard, The Conductors by Nicole Glover, Hyperion by Dan Simmons, A Man Called Ove by Fredrik Backman, The Lies of Lamora by Scott Lynch, The Arithmetist by Brandon Sanderson, Monster Blood Tattoo by D.M. Cornish, The Republic of Pirates by Colin Woodard, The Historian by Elizabeth Kostova, Romanov by Nadine Brands, The Necronomicon by H.P. Lovecraft. I think this will make a really good October read. The Dresden Files by Jim Butcher, This is another one where I've read the first book, but I haven't yet continued on with the series. What Once Was Mine by Liz Braswell. Unbirthday, also by Liz Braswell. Mask of Mirrors by M.A. Carrick. The Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. Edmund Springs by Matthew Skelton. Gothic Fantasy, a collection of short stories by Black sci-fi authors. A Darker Shade of Magic by V.E. Schwab. City of Ghosts, also by V.E. Schwab. 3 Parts Dead by Max Gladstone. The Bone Witch by Rin Chapico. The Calculating Stars by Mary Robinette Cowell. Songs from the Deep by Kelly Powell. The First Law Series by Joe Abercrombie. Founders by Stuart Jaff. Target by Darcy Cole. The Tsubasa Chronicles by Clamp. Cardcaptors Sakura, also by Clamp. The Scythe Trilogy by Neil Schusterman. Dry by Neil and Jared Schusterman. Kingdom of the Wicked by Kerry Maniscalco. The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. Serpent and Dove by Shelby Maharin. Queens of Fenburn by Kendare Blake. The Lost Book of White by Cassandra Clare and Wesley Chu. Soulless by Gail Carriger. The Dark One by Brandon Sanderson. Legion by Brandon Sanderson. Breach of Peace by Daniel Green. A Touch of Darkness by Scarlett St. Clair. Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. His Dark Materials by Philip Pullman. I've currently read the first 2 in this series, but I still need to read the 3rd book. The Lives of Saints by Leigh Bardugo. And last but not least, The Language of Thorns by Leigh Bardugo. That is it. That is my physical TBR. I have no idea how many books I actually just went through. I will put a final count on the screen just to see how bad the damage actually is. My aim is to work through a lot of these books this year as much as I can. I'm not stopping myself buying books. I don't think that that's realistic for me because there are still things that I want to buy. And I literally just did a book haul. But at least most of those books were things I was either currently reading or were different editions of books that I already own. I imagine that I will add more to this list this year, but as long as I can get it to go down overall, that would be preferable. That would be nice because, again, why buy books if you're not going to read them? So I would very much like to be able to get through these. That's it for me today. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you all for watching and I will see you all next time. Bye!